how, if this will be our last chapter that we cover before the end of the year, chances are it probably will be, okay, with things that are going on. If not, what we might do is just do a few things before the end of the year if we finish this chapter early. But we're going to talk about rational expressions. And you've already seen rational expressions, okay? We're just going to look at some that are a little more complicated than what you've seen in the past. Okay, a rational expression is the ratio of two polynomial expressions. And where we get ratio is because that's the root word of rational. Okay, so when you see rational, you should automatically think that's a ratio. What is another name for ratio? Fraction, very good. So basically, when I hear ratio, I automatically think fractions. So that's what we're going to be dealing with today. And so in order to get ready to simplify polynomial expressions, I'm going to review how to factor. So I've got two simple problems here. Okay. Let's look at that first one. Do we remember how I factor that first one? Two factors of 4 that add up to 5. Very good. And remember, I have two quantities here. What is the first term in each of those quantities? X. And so then now what will the second term in those quantities be? 1 and 4. Very good, because that is our two factors of 4 that add up to 5. Okay. Let's look at that next one, x squared minus 49. Does somebody remember what that one will be? Take the square root of each. What's the square root of x squared? Square root of 49. 7. So then I have my two quantities. What's the first term in each of those quantities? X. What's the second term? What? 7, and what else? Minus 7, yep. One is positive, one is negative. And so that is the difference of two squares, remember? And so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at where we're going with that. And this is where we're going. So anyway, go ahead and start by writing that down. And we're going to go ahead and simplify that expression. Now when I say simplify, that means we're going to see if we can cancel anything out. So I'm going to first of all start with the x squared plus 4x plus 3. First term in each quantity will be what? X. What am I going to fill in? Okay, 3 and 1. And what? So I'm going to fill in 3 and 1. What about the signs between them? Plus and plus. Very good. So we already did the top, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to factor the bottom. Can you factor x minus 6? Nope. So we're going to leave it alone. Okay. Can you factor x squared minus 9? Yeah. That is the difference of two squares. What is that factor to be? Yep, x plus 3, x minus 3. Remember, you could do those in the other order. You could have x minus 3, x plus 3, same thing. So now what we're doing is we're looking for common things between the top and the bottom. There's an x plus 3 that's gone. So I'm going to cancel that out. Just like, remember when we reduce fractions? Okay, I'm reducing this fraction. Is there anything else that's in common? No. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that as 5x and x plus 1 on the top. On the bottom, x minus 6 and x minus 3. And you are done. All you're doing is seeing what you can take out that's in common. You don't distribute. You don't like multiply your 5x. You don't FOIL out the bottom. Leave it in factored form. Questions? Let's look at another one then. Okay, 4y times y minus 3 times y minus 4, all divided by y, times y squared minus y minus 6. So can I factor the numerator at all? Nope. I leave it alone. It's already in factored form. So I can't do anything with the top. What about the bottom? What can I factor? Yep. Y squared minus y minus 6. So I'm going to go ahead and put my two quantities. What's first in each quantity? Y. So in this one, I'm looking for two factors of 6 that differ by 1. What are those two factors of 6 that differ by 1? 3 and 2. So then now, how do you get a negative 1 from 3 and 2? Very good. So now I see, is there anything I can cancel? Y minus 3's? Anything else I can cancel? The y's. Yep, there's a y here. So I can cancel those. Now when I cancel those, that doesn't become 3y. Okay? This is 4 times y. On the bottom, it's 1 times y. So you can't cancel that and make that 3. All you do is cancel the y's and you leave the 4 there. So on the top, I am left with what? Okay, divided by y plus 2. Very good. Now you don't need parentheses on the bottom. You can have them if you want, but you really don't need those. So far, so good? Alrighty. Let's see how you do on this one. Okay, this one I'm going to be asking groups what we're going to factor, so you need to make sure you're doing this. Okay, back group. What do you do on the top? Or in the numerator? That group right there. Okay. So what does that factor to be? Very good, back group. Okay, the other back group, I want you to tell me what I should do with the denominator. Okay. Okay, x plus 4, x plus 2. Okay, this group here, what do you need to do? What should we do, this group here? Okay. This group here, anything else? Yes. Okay, so what does that become on the top? X, because I'm going to cancel that squared, because that squared, remember, means x times x. Okay, so really this means x times x, so you've canceled one of those x's out. All right, that's where it comes from. What about on the bottom? Take that x out, right? And so then that leaves me with my final answer, which will be x times x minus 7 on the top. On the bottom, I've got 4 times x plus 4. Questions? We doing okay? Not really. They just get kind of more complicated where we're going to have more factoring. Okay, let's look at this one. xz minus 4z over z squared times 4 minus x. Now be careful about your z's, that they don't look like 2's. So let's look at this one. What do you think you should do? Leave it like it is. Not fully correct to leaving it like it is, because we can do something.
Cancel the 4.
Remove the z. There you go, bingo. So let's look at the top here. I have a z that's in common with both of those terms, so let's take that z out. So if I take that z out, what does that leave me with? Yep, x minus 4, good. On the bottom, I have z squared, and then 4 minus x. What do you notice about the top and the bottom? They have a z, yep, and so I could cancel the z's. I'll agree with that. Do the parentheses cancel? Not as they are now. What do you notice about the parentheses, though? They're the same. They're pretty much the same other than the signs, right? So what I can do to adjust this is I can multiply by a -1. Because would you agree, if I multiplied x minus 4 by a -1, okay, what does that become? That becomes -x plus 4. Or another way to write that is 4 minus x. So what I can do is I can multiply this by a -1. The problem is, if you remember, whenever I multiply a fraction, the only thing I can multiply it by is 1. If I multiply it by -1, it changes the whole thing, right? So what I need to do is I need to divide that by a -1 as well. Because really, what does this simplify to be? 1, okay? So now, in order to do that, when I multiply by the -1, this becomes, let me go ahead and write this in different color, especially for 5th period. This becomes 4 minus x. Okay? So then now you can cancel your 4 minus x's, right? And let's see, am I left with anything on the top? No, so I'm just going to put a 1. On the bottom, what do I have? I have a z and a -1. So really it's like -z, but remember I don't like negatives in the bottom, so where are we going to put that negative? On the top, so -1 over z. Now that's the reasoning behind why you can do that. The other thing to remember is if you have opposite signs, cancel them and add a -1. Okay, so that's the easy way. We showed why, but you don't have to do that every time. If you have opposite signs, you can just cancel them and add a -1. So let's look at this next one. Boys, back group. I want you to tell me where I'm going to start. Okay, so tell me what I need to do. Okay, put the x on the outside. And a y, good. You caught that x and the y both. So if I take an x and a y from xy squared, what am I left with? Y. Minus 5. Very good. On the bottom, I have 5 minus y, 5 plus y. So this group here, ideas. What I need to do here. So times by -1, and then what can I do? So if I times this by -1, let's remember our shortcut. Times it by -1, and then what can I just do? Cross out which ones? The y minus 5 and the 5 minus y. So remember the trick. Add a negative and then cross them out. What am I left with on the top? -xy. What do I have on the bottom? 5 plus y. All right, this is going to be our last one today, and then we're going to continue with things tomorrow. Okay, but I want to at least do one with this division sign. Now, we're eventually going to get division with the quantities as well. Okay, but we're going to start with one of these. No. So now we need to regress back to your childhood when you first learned about fractions. When you first learned how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions, how did you divide two fractions? What did you do? Multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to do the same thing. So I've got 18xy cubed over 7a squared b squared. I'm going to multiply by the, which is what? Yep. Perfect. Perfect. That's exactly what you do. And so then now we just look to cancel. We look to cancel along the x's right here, especially for those of you watching, this is what I'm talking about. And then I also look to cancel up and down vertically. Okay, so let's first of all look along the diagonals. Is there anything I can cancel here with the 18 and the 12? What goes into both 18 and 12? Bigger. 6. 6 goes into 18 how many times? 3. 6 goes into 12 how many times? 2. So now I have an x and an x squared. Can I cancel anything out? X's. Okay. I have a y and a y cubed. Can I cancel anything out? Y. And then what is left over here? Squared. Okay. So now I'm going to cancel along the other diagonal. So now I'm going to start with the 7 and the 35. Well, 7 goes into 7 one time, goes into 35 how many? 5. Then I have an a squared and an a squared. They're gone. B and a b squared. The b is gone. Okay, so now last but not least, I'm going to look to see if I can do anything vertically. Now when I say vertically, that means I'm going to look first of all at this term right here. Can I cancel anything out there? I have a 3 and a 1. I have a y squared and a b, so I have nothing there. Okay, so now I'm going to look at this term right here. I have a 5 over a 2x, so nothing there. So now I need to combine them. On the top, 3 times 5 is 15y squared over 2bx. Very good. Biggest thing there is trying to keep everything straight. Okay, but that's where we're eventually going. Now, we are going to continue this tomorrow since I know that some of you had late nights last night. Okay, this is what I'm going to need you to do right here, page 534, 14 through 22 the evens, 26 through 38 the evens. Now, understand you're not going to be able to do all of these tonight. Okay, and I'm sure some of you are going to be getting some sleep anyway. But I want you to at least, if you can, do a couple, especially with the time now. Try and get as many done as you can. Tomorrow we will continue with this. You will probably have a quiz over this Wednesday. So make sure you get it down. Okay, those of you that are watching this on video, you're probably going to have another video tomorrow. So if you have any questions, make sure you come and see me. I will be here tomorrow morning. Okay.